Put your hands together. Let's welcome our next Master of Shop Management, Mark of Mobil. Mark, come on down.
My friend, the low rider. The low rider is a little higher.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. How do you follow all those? Excuse me, I'm fighting a disease, AGE. But one of my biggest fears is public speaking, so bear with me. I'm Mark Granom, owner of Mobil Mark out of Palm Coast, Florida. I'm here with my beautiful wife of 25 years, Vicki. Want to thank you for always being behind me and believing in me. Also want to thank my coach G and other individuals out there in the office. In the room, I'm not going to name names because there's way too many of you, but thanks for helping me over the last 3 years. I want to take a moment to share a little bit of the journey of how Mobil Mark came to be and where we are today. First off, I want to quote something that I heard a little bit while back that stuck with me for years. In the end, when your life flashes before your eyes, make sure it's worth watching. So let's go back 20 years, 2005. I made a decision to move my wife and my 2-year-old daughter from Ohio to Florida to open up a financial services office with my brother Mike and his family. Just 6 months after settling in, my license got held up, and I told my wife that we needed to make $3,000 a month to survive, and that's $100 a day. I can do that. I jumped in our Blazer, which at the time we were about 6 months behind on. We were probably about $110,000 in debt when we moved to Florida, and I thought the repo man can't find me if I'm about 8 states away. So I basically got online and thought I would call myself Mobil Mark. Sounds like a good business name to me. But after getting online, I found out the fictitious name. There was another Mobil Mark in Tallahassee, Florida, a detailing business. So me being the smart guy, I dropped the E. Now I'm Mobil Mark. So with just a toolbox and some hand tools and a relentless work ethic, I was on my way 24/7. Phone rang, I worked, and my wife can testimony that 1 o'clock in the morning I was changing flat tires. At 6 a.m. I was changing flat tires. In the meantime, she ended up getting a job at a hospital. She was working 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. We had our 2-year-old daughter. We would meet halfway. I would take her, and then I would work 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Meet halfway, she would take my daughter. And we did that for a number of years. I remember driving neighborhoods. The phone wasn't ringing at the beginning. I don't know if anybody of you can relate, trying to build something out of nothing, but the phone wasn't ringing. So I remember driving neighborhoods, and if I seen a car in a driveway with the hood open, trunk open, doors open, I was pulling in their driveway and said, "I'm here." People looked at me like I was nuts. But some paid me for work, some did not. But I guarantee everybody got a business card. I became friends with a local auto parts store. I would buy them pizza every week to feed me work. Sorry. While my family ate hot dogs and peanut butter and jelly. After 5 years of prayers, planting seeds, grinding it out, making okay money with minimal stress, the demand for quality mobile service had grown so much that I could not keep up with it on my own. That's when my brother had talked to me and said that you're changing. Can I come on board? We put a second mobile van on the road and worked 6 days a week, 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. A few years later, now by 2010, Vic and I had 2 more daughters. We purchased our first home, which 11 years in Florida, we moved 11 times in 11 years. We decided to take on another big step. I rented a 2 small bay shop and hired a tech. Now that we've turned Mobile Mark into from a mobile-only operations into a small, full-service repair facility, along with the 2 mobile vans. Within 2 years, we outgrew that place, and we ended up finding a bigger shop that we could move into. Basically, my building is, we rented one side, my landlord was on the other side. Within a year, I told my landlord he needed to get out of his side. I kicked him out. I rented the whole building and expanded into the whole building. We added more lifts. I brought on more techs just to keep up with the demand. Now we're working 5 days a week. In the meantime, while trying to manage multiple personalities, building a business that I knew nothing about, I worked on cars. I didn't know nothing about spreadsheets. My brother, my right-hand man, he decided he wanted to do his own thing. He lost a bunch of weight and decided he was put on earth to help people with their nutrition. So he gave me his notice. A month later, he left me. 5 days later, COVID hit. For me, it was a blessing. I had time to figure out what I was going to do. About a week later, I put on Facebook a picture of the front of my shop. All doors wide open, no cars in bays, no cars in the parking lot. Caption was, first time in 10 years, we don't have a hood to open. Within minutes, my customers, my community started calling. I don't know if I need brakes, but change them anyways. I don't know if I need an oil change, but do it anyways. My car will be there tomorrow, do a tune-up on it. The phone started to ring, and for 4 years it did not stop. We grew 50-60% year over year. And in 2021, we grossed $1 million in gross sales. Thank you. In August of 2022, I was at the point where I was making pretty good money, and we were actually saving money. A few years before that, we got to broke. I did not go bankrupt. I paid off all debts that were in our names. We were broke again. We were zero. I was able to start saving. But in 2022, 3/4 of the way into the year, we went over $1 million. I was looking at $1.5 million by the time at the end of the year, but I was stressed out. I had a hat wearing everything. I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, but for some reason in my mind, it wasn't pretty. I knew it was a train coming straight at me. I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but I was at that point. I received an email from O'Reilly's that said, "Are you too busy to hire? Jump on this." It wasn't a Zoom call, it was a webinar, which was going to be the next week. I was like, that's what I need. It's an answer. God has given me something. So I had it on my schedule. The day of, I knew I was going to get on. Then I got too busy to get on. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. A few days later, I get a phone call. I answer it. They tell me they're from Drive and wanted to know why I wasn't on the call. I told them that I didn't know and that, everything was fine. Everything was great. And I fought them tooth and nail for about 2 weeks until the gentleman, Robbie, told me that there was an expo in Orlando. Why don't you come out? I said, I can't get off work. He said, it's going to be basically Wednesday to Sunday. Come out Saturday and Sunday. You're closed those days, aren't you? You don't have an excuse now. And I was like, well, I really don't want to pay for it. He said, it's on me. I'll take care of everything except for your room. I said, all right. So I went home and told the wife, we're going to go to Orlando. First time in 20 years we've ever left our kids at home. So me and her drove out to Orlando, got there Friday night, and stayed the weekend. Now, I'm a big guy, but I'm a very shy big guy. But I told the wife walking into that expo that I needed to get to the bottom of what's going on. So we walked through the doors in Orlando, and I probably had 15 to 20 drive people attack us. What do you need? What do you need? How you doing? How's things? You know, can we get you anything? And it was an awesome experience from the moment we walked to the door. But I told her, I was like, I don't need to talk to the people that are getting paid. I want to talk to the people that are paying. So normally we would just walk to the back table, it was empty, and we would sit down. With that drive, I walked to the very front table that had the most people at it, and I pulled a chair from another table and pulled up to that table. And I went around the circle asking, what's the deal? First guy he said he'd been there 2 years. I apologize, I don't remember nothing really from that expo other than what I got out of it. But he said, I've been with them for 2 years. This is what they're doing for us. Next guy was like, well, I've been here 2 weeks. This is what they're doing for us. Next guy was like, I've been here 20 years. This is what they're doing for us. And I looked at my wife and I said, he's been paying for it for 20 years. There's got to be something here. So that weekend, the biggest thing I got out of it was I'm not alone anymore. I could get help. I quickly learned that I needed to get out of the front of the house, and I needed to learn the back of the house. So we turned my cell phone, which was glued to my ear, into a landline. Thank you, Larry. A landline app that now rings on 4 different cell phones. I hired 2 service writers and began to redefine our procedures, putting policies and procedures on all running operations. By the end of 2023, I finally began to step back from the day-to-day operations. I was grossing over 1.5 million. I started to enjoy a little bit of flexibility. I could actually leave for lunch and not believe that my building was going to burn to the ground. In the summer of 2024, because of Drive, I purchased my building after renting there for 10 years. I hired a general manager, which isn't 100% yet there, but we are training and we're going to get there, so in the summer of 24, I hired a general manager, which allowed me to fully step out of the day-to-day operations and gave me a bigger picture on moving Mobile Mark to the next level. In ending of 2024, we went to 1.7 million. Now in 2025, we made one of the biggest impacts changes yet. In the beginning of May, we changed to a 4-day work week. And you know what? We're doing the same amount of money, if not more. My guys are much happier. And just everybody's getting together. I've got a group of guys. So right now, we're looking at closing out 2025 right around 1.9 million. Mobile Mark has grown from a one-man mobile service to a thriving full-scale operation with a powerful team behind it. None of this would be possible without the decision to be coachable, hard work, smart decisions, and great people that I've met along the way the last 3 years, and a commitment to never stop improving. Thank you.